This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to and beyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. My name is Damon and we're on the trail of a big male cheetah. Welcome to our live safari. Welcome back, everyone. Once again, my name is Damon, and behind the camera we have Marcel this afternoon. And as I said, we came out here this afternoon and we found a big male cheetah. One of those two brothers. Watch out for the branches here, everyone. One of the two brothers that we've been spending quite a bit of time with over the last few weeks. And it seems like he's lost his brother. He's calling incessantly. So it may be that his brother has gone off on a hunt without him, or that he's found a mate. But we're going to try and relocate him. We can hear him calling just off to our left here. Just a reminder that the first 45 minutes of this afternoon's game drive are dedicated to all the kiddies out there. So kids and parents, please send any questions through to kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. I can hear him still calling. I think he's just out here. He's just calling over here on the left. Here's the road. There he is, there he is, there he is. I'm just going to go a little bit closer and then I'll switch off. Listen to that sound he's making. Everyone sit nice and still. So like I said, he's somehow gotten separated from his brother. It might be that they chased some inyala through these thickets, and maybe his brother actually managed to catch an inyala and is busy killing it, maybe even eating it right now. But this poor guy obviously wasn't successful, and he's trying to find his brother. He's calling out to him, trying to get in touch with him again. Let's turn around and follow him, shall we? Just see his back in the long grass there. While we try and keep up with this cheetah though, we'll send you across to TRISHALA at Juma so that she can say hello with a small little animal.
I do have a tiny little animal, and this is by far one of our best sightings with this tiny little animal. It's just had a crown lapwing past it. It is a steenbok, everyone. The tiniest antelope we get out here. It's only about 11 kgs. Gorgeous little thing. Hello, good afternoon. I think it's telling you all and welcoming you all on board. My name is TRISHALA and I've got Davy on camera this afternoon. It's a bit gloomy and our steenbok is very comfortable. So that's a good idea, or it gives us a good idea of the fact that some antelopes are very comfortable and a steenbok is usually very skittish. So if it's feeling nice and comfortable, perhaps quarantine, where we're at the moment, is not littered with predators. It's happily going out munching on little shrubs. They don't often eat grass. They don't like grass too much. But as the season gets drier, they'll start moving towards eating a little bit more grass. But it's actually looking for little flowers. And they especially like juicy bits like bulbs, melons, and the trees of little shrubs that grow close to the ground. You'll sometimes see them even dig for bulbs. Very, very, very cute. There we go. You can see quite clearly that it's taking the short vegetation as opposed to the grass. Its horns look like two pencils. It was holding pencils when it was running, and then it ran into a wall by mistake. I know it looks a little bit like a miniature impala. But you can see it's quite different. These guys sometimes hang around in pairs, especially if there's a female with a lamb, or they've been mating, but they are quite territorial. So the rest of the time, you'll find them quite solitary and not in herds like you may find other antelope. And that goes for males and females, unless there is mating or there's a little lamb around. You can hear that it's quite windy. Now, surprisingly, there aren't any other antelope around. Accommodating indeed, a very accommodating Steenbok. Since the show started, watching it, so it's been a very good treat. I can say that this is by far the longest sighting I have ever had with the Steenbok, especially looking that comfortable. It's still got its head up every now and then because it is windy, which means it's going to have to be a little bit extra vigilant, as it won't be able to hear the direction of a predator approaching or the smell. It'll kind of all get mixed up with the wind, and it'll be hard for it to tell exactly where a predator may be approaching from. So it's a little extra vigilant. But these animals, having been solitary, are not as, or rather they have a better sense of when real danger is around than a herd animal does. That kind of gets alerted very, very quickly. Also, these guys are quite fast. You'll see when they bound away, and they kind of move a little bit zigzaggy and push from side to side. And that is their best defense. And off it's about to move behind that jackalberry. Very cool. Well, I'm going to go down towards the hyena den, especially now that we know that they are still there. So hopefully they'll be out and about and playing as they were this morning, because that was awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm sure that you'll all be happy to see them, especially if you haven't seen them this morning. Later in the evening, we'll be looking out, of course, for some predators, and I'm going to keep an eye out for tracks at the moment, because that will give us a good idea of where we can look once it starts to get a little bit darker, where we can look for predators to emerge from. Ooh, that's windy. So this morning we had 3 hyenas, 3 adults at the hyena den. Dav is just showing you just how gloomy it is. Rain has been spitting most of the day. Well, there were 3 hyenas at the hyena den. It was Ntima, Sutu, and Ribbon. Ribbon's the mum, of course. And the 2 little ones were all over the place. Can you hear that wind? I think that might actually be just because we're at quite a rise here on quarantine. Well, we don't have a rain roof, so we're hoping that the weather holds. The rain it's just unexpected. Our rainy season is during our summer months, and now it is winter. But it would be really good for the plants and the animals. It's not enough rain to fill up any of the, that's a parlor, let's just have a look at her, to fill up any of the ponds or dams, but it is enough rain to soak the soil, which will be great for the vegetation. Well, there's Impala U leading on to quarantine, and Steve has more of them, so let's go over to say good afternoon.
Thank you very much and good afternoon from a bachelor group of boys. Bachelors are always boys, actually, normally single boys. Here we have a lot of young male impala, a couple adults, and they've been hanging out with each other because the breeding season has ended, and now they've been hanging out together so as to pick up good condition. You see they're all a bit jumpy from each other. All the big guys are big and strong and always want to beat everybody else up. Hello, everybody. My name's Steve. I'm joined by BK on camera, and we're very excited to have you with us. As I'm sure you've been told to send through your questions, have a look at our little impalas once again. Now, there's some big boys in here, like that one on the right, and that one there. He's not fully mature, but there's one just on the road there, BK. Now, that guy on the right is a beautiful specimen. Beautiful specimen of horns. You see how the horns we call this shape lyrate. It looks like a lyre. You could put strings between there and strum it with a musical instrument. And he is a fully mature male, and it's doubtful. Well, it's possible that he tried for a territory this year or tried for the ladies this year and either was ousted or didn't quite cut the grade. But next year, he's a prime candidate. So by hanging out in these little bachelor groups, they can build up their strength, because by looking around and being on your own, there's a very good chance of something catching you and eating you. So when there's lots of animals around, you can feed much more and you've got more time to build your condition. Okay, well, from the eastern parts of South Africa, we're going to send you all the way over to the west, to the Kalahari with Dylan.
Good afternoon. I'm not going to do a long introduction now. We've got a super special animal that Jandre on camera and myself, Dylan, at Tswalu Kalahari, we're going to try to show you. I'm still not going to give it away because unfortunately it just trotted across the road and it's just behind some bushes. But that's as far as I'm going to go. I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to go a little bit further forward. Hopefully we're going to see it. If we do, I'm going to be absolutely ecstatic. I can't give it away just yet. So we're going to idle forward very, very slowly. And Jandre is going to see if he can actually spot it for us. Yes, this is so exciting.
Dylan.
Watch here. Let's see. Yeah, it may have moved off a little bit further. Yeah, like I said, I can't tell anyone what it is yet, but it's one of my all-time favorites out here. Okay, I think it seems to have moved off. So, but this is a very, very, very good sign. So, the plot thickens. Yeah, we're just going to have to be patient and just keep on. We're going to keep trying. This is going to be an amazing afternoon. If what Jandre and I have planned actually works out, it's going to be pretty exceptional. Even if it doesn't work out, it's still going to be pretty exceptional. Because we're out here. And it's good having you all with, and feel free as always to ask questions. Give comments. And it's really nice. Yeah, there's a lot of Kerry says she's really worried about my driving skills. Kerry, I'm also worried about my driving skills. It's like, and you know what? Chandra is also worried about them. It's like, yeah, it's like one of those things. Look, Mom, no hands. But, yeah, do not try this at home in your suburb. It's probably not a good idea. We're just going along very, very, very slowly here. The reason I'm standing up, it just gives me a little bit of extra height to try see what we can find. Like I say, there's a particular thing that we're after this afternoon. And I can't give it away until we find one. But wow, this is magnificent out here. Very, very different to the other areas that we've been going through. And that's, hey, is this a falcon? This is a pygmy falcon sitting here. Right here, look at this. Look at this. Sorry, the light is quite harsh there. So actually I can't see the colors on the back. If it looks like it's an all grey back, sorry, the backlighting is very bad there. So it looks like a female. Wow, and it's sitting right out in the open. So remember we were saying the other day that they use sociable weaver nests as their nesting site. So by seeing this bird out here, they don't normally travel too far away from the nest. So although we can't see one from where we're sitting, there must be a big sociable weaver nest somewhere in this area here. Vizzy has asked if this is the same one we saw the other day. No, it's not. It's the same species, pygmy falcons, but it's not the same individual. That, to give you some idea of the extent or the size of the area that we're covering here, that bird that we saw the other day, that other pygmy falcon, is about 15 kilometers away from where we are now. So it's quite a distance between the pairs. But he's sitting out now, he's hunting lizards. When you see them sitting out like this, they're just watching for prey items, and lizards constitute probably the majority of their prey items. And this is what I love about the bush. You go out there with the outdoors, you go out looking for a particular thing. You never know what you're going to come across. You can find anything. Yes, this is so cool. In this area, you'll see there's lots of grass out here. Well, while we carry on looking for our mysterious animal, our nemesis, I think head over to Steve and see what he's got that side.
Thanks, Dylan. Well, I'm trying to find out where that herd of buffalo went from this morning. They were moving away from the dam in that direction. We've had a look, and they didn't go that direction. But here is some very fresh buffalo poo. Now, buffaloes are ruminants, so they'll go and they eat lots of grass, mainly grass, and they'll sit down and they'll chew, and they'll chew, and they'll chew. And this shows very, very fresh. This is what we call a cow pat, or a pat, and the food inside there has been very well digested. You can see that there's black on the outside, and on the inside is still quite green. Because in grass has got, inside this stuff over here, there is actually a tooth-wearing agent which is derived from the soil. It's a compound known as silica, and silica actually is something many animals avoid eating, because what it does, wears down your teeth. You find silica in toothpaste, where we brush our teeth to take off all that nonsense that's building up. That's the silica that does that. Sorry, I heard a car. So when it oxidizes, which means gets into contact with the air, it goes darker in color. And the inside is quite green, but very well chopped up. So we're going to see if we can find these buffalo. But then I've also had an idea to look at a bit of digestive systems today and how animals drop their dung on the ground, the difference between them. Because I think it's quite interesting. For example, there's a bird dropping right over here, which I'm actually going to pick up because I'm not too scared to pick this one up. And there is a Franklin poo. Can you see it, BK? That is the poo of a francolin. Now, birds, frogs, snakes have only got one hole, the cloaca, where they poo and urinate out of. And that's why it's covered in white. Covered in white because birds, to conserve water, unlike that very sloppy poo you saw of the buffalo there, they have very bad conservation of water. Birds don't want to drink all the time. Many animals adapted not to drink all the time. So what they do is they give off this high concentrated uric acid, which is the white. And I'm sure when we go back to Dylan, we can talk to him about many of the adaptations in the desert there, because there's many animals there that do this, able to extract all the moisture out and then give off a very, very high white concentrated uric acid. And here is the pellet forms over here, and it's all deposited on the ground. So that is a francolin. They feed primarily on insects, seeds, grass particles, and organic material like that. Okay, so the difference between a bird poo and a buffalo poo. We'll find some more. I'm going to deposit this one back on the ground because organic material is very good to be on the ground because it gets reabsorbed. And it seems like TAYLA is out and about, and she would like to show you something that makes probably the largest poo of them all.
Yes, Steve, we have got elephants, and they do defecate in much bigger balls of dung than buffalo. But you can see this elephant is just feasting on something delicious, but what my favorite part of the scene is the tent right behind it. So the elephants have come on into the eco-training camp at Pridelands, which is quite cool, and this is a very common thing to see here. My name is TAYLA, and on camera with me today is Gert, and like I said, it's awesome to be out here, even though I've got about 4 different jackets on today. Gert is in his sleeping bag. It's very cold, it's very windy, and it has been a little bit rainy, which is strange for this time of the year, but anyways. So we were watching a really big breeding herd of elephants. They came down to Ndlovu Dam to have a drink of water, and there were loads of little babies. It was actually one of my favorite herds that have come here. What are you looking for? Now, this elephant is not doing a handstand, even though it looks like it. I think it's trying to dig for a root or a bulb, and it was using its tusks, but it hasn't got very long tusks, so it needed to take its face closer to the ground and basically stick its tusk into the soil to either loosen or to cut a root or something like that. So that's why it is doing what it is doing. So now you can see how useful those tusks are as digging tools, but you can also see her feet are hard at work. She was actually trying to kick open the ground and kick open the soil too. Jake, who's only 6 years old, so I know you've said, why do elephants have short tails? Their tails actually aren't that short, but now this one is facing the wrong way. They're quite long, and they've got really long black hairs that almost feel like plastic. They actually, when you find an elephant hair on the floor, you think you have just found a long string of plastic, and you think, well, this can't belong to an animal, but it does. So I don't think that they're that short. Remember, if they were very long and they dragged on the floor, they'd probably get caught on all the thorns. Maybe another elephant would stand on that elephant's tail. It wouldn't be very nice. So it doesn't make much sense to have a tail that touches the ground. So it's not too far off of the ground, and every elephant's tail is a different length too, because of the amount of hair that they have on the end of their tails. But we'll have a look at that in a minute. I was wondering where the other elephants are, and every now and then I can see some ears flapping at the back. Oh no, there's a person. Someone's going back to their tent. You can see they're going to get a surprise that there are elephants around here, but everyone will be very cautious. But I think this is quite cool to see this behavior of elephants actually digging and using their tools. Someone marching along, going to their tent. So this is a normal affair here at the eco-training camp. You can see the elephant's like, who's sneaking up on me? He's not sneaking up on the elephant. Some of the tents just hug the drainage line, which is really quite cool. That's the vehicle that we use to go and fetch water every single day. and to top up the tanks so we can have showers and waters and camps. It's a very, very rustic camp. It's a really awesome experience to be out here. Literally have hyenas and lions and all sorts of amazing things coming right up to your tents at night, and sometimes elephants during the day. The elephant's moving the speed. There's a couple of people moving around. Yes, Rachel, it is a fantastic learning environment. Literally to have the animals on your doorstep. So probably about 20 minutes ago, all the elephants, like I said, had come down to have a drink. I think this might be the back of the herd, so we'll try catch up with the rest of them. And every single student decided to give lunch a skip to watch the elephants and as they drink and as they interacted with some of the bulls that came down too. But that's, I'm afraid, is the end of our elephants. We have to reverse out of here now. So we are going to try and do that. I think I can just squeeze the back of the vehicle into this little patch here. So yeah, so it's really amazing. The other night, I think I told you, but like just to give you an idea of how wild this camp is. So the tents all hug this drainage line that's in front of us. And it goes all the way around. It kind of opens up quite nicely. It becomes a little bit of a sandy riverbed. And then you have the big dam. And we had elephants, buffalo, lions, basically where you saw that person walking to the tent. There, those 2 male lions. And then 3 leopards on the eastern side of the dam. All at the same time. So pretty spectacular, very wild. You really have to be very careful. Like I said, you always have to walk around with a torch and have your wits about you. But it's good. I think it's really nice for students to learn that right from the get-go, because a lot of camps aren't that wild, that you don't necessarily get that experience. So to learn that right at the beginning of becoming a safari guide, it's good. You learn very quickly to walk with your eyes up and not really worry about looking down the floor so much, because that's when you can surprise an elephant or a buffalo. And I know firsthand, you definitely do not want to surprise a buffalo. So we're just going to find a road that kind of goes that way. This breeding herd we actually tried to show you this morning. I think they're just going back to the same place. Go feed up in this nice thicket where it's sheltered. The wind is not going to be popular with the animals. Right, off you go, back across to Ngala to see how Shaun is doing this afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a rainy and very wet and beyond Ngala. So you can see today, we've got myself, Shaun, and we've got the OD behind the camera. And we've got this wonderful herd of elephants that are currently having a drink. But if you have a look at them very carefully, you can see they look a little bit upset. You can see the ones at the back, they're sort of smelling around. They're all standing very, very close together, very clumped up like that. And that's because we actually came here looking for lions. Now we think the Birmingham Pride is on the other side of this waterhole, but we thought let's stop and have a look at these beautiful guys. If you look very carefully, just there you can see there's a baby one right on the right hand side of your screen. There's a little baby one that's facing us. 2 of them there actually. Now they're loving this weather. Nice and overcast, which means it's nice and cool. The rain is keeping them nice and cool. You can imagine being a 5-6 ton elephant, especially because you're grey. On a hot day you struggle, you get very hot, your body overheats, it's a bit of a struggle. Where today they can walk around, they can feed, they can be in the open, they can be in wherever they want to be, and it's fine weather-wise. The elephants and predators are the animals that enjoy this weather. You know, predators, because this weather makes it easier for them to hunt. And elephants, like I said, they can do what they want. It's easy to control their body temperatures, easy to walk around. And you got nothing to stress about. And it's quite a big family here. You might actually find that's what happened here, is there's maybe 3 or 4 different family units that have come together. So very often now in these sort of winter months, which are supposedly our drier months, but you wouldn't know that because it's currently raining. We see a number of smaller elephant families coming together. And then we see these big herds of 60, 70, 80 elephants together. And we look at those two just having a bit of a tussle. There they are, some of the bigger ones just pushing around. But it's very different to what we would get in our summer, where it's there's lots of water all over the reserve, so these elephants can break up into their smaller families because they all know where to find water. It's almost like now, as the rain's starting to come back, they're all finishing off. Okay, so we got a question from Freya. Freya's 2 years old. Freya, lovely to have you. Freya wants to know how much milk elephants drink. Now, they do drink milk, yes, quite a lot of it. You can imagine, as a baby elephant, you're trying to grow big and strong, and they suckle for a very long time. It's about 4 or 5 years that baby elephants will suckle from their mother. How much they suckle exactly at a time, I'm not sure. I'm trying to have a look in my book here, but I cannot find it. So I'll have to get back to you on that question. I'd imagine it's quite a lot of water. Quite a lot of milk. They drink close on 100 to 160 liters of water at a time. So the milk, obviously they're a bit younger, so they have less than that, but they will be drinking quite a lot to try and make up for their growth. They grow very, very quickly. But you can see, if we just remember what I said at the beginning, is that we came here looking for the lions. And we believe them to be on the other side of this waterhole. Exactly where these elephants are going. And you can see they're actually going quite carefully. They're all following a line. We've got that big one in the front. They were smelling as they got to the top of that little hill. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to keep quiet now. We must listen. Because if they do come across those lions, these elephants will trumpet and possibly even chase the lions. So let's listen and see if we hear that. Okay, so did you hear that trumpet? You're listening to that. You can see them through the trees. They're running there. They saw the lions. The lions on the other side. That's exactly as I said. They saw the lions. You can still hear them trumpeting, chasing. So obviously the lions are not going to hunt an elephant. Those elephants are too big, too many of them to attack the little ones. But they will still chase the lions away. So what we're going to do, those elephants are now disappeared. They've chased the lions and they've run off into the bushes. So I'll wee loop around to see if we can find those lions again. We will send you across to, I think, Steve at Juma, who's also getting very wet.
We are getting quite damp. It is getting quite wet out here, but that's all right. We found a couple of dung examples to run you through if you're excited about learning more about dung. Oh, Koki Franklin's calling. Okay, so it's very interesting about these little balls of dung is bear in mind all those I'm touching today with my hands are herbivore animals. Now, many of you out there might be quite grossed out about dung, but every animal has some form of dung, but we avoid touching predator scat with your hands. There's many viruses and worms and things that you can ingest. Bear in mind if you're going to play with these sort of dung as well, wash your hands before you eat something. I'm not too concerned about it. I play with dung all the time. So have a look at the difference between these two over here. Can you see the color difference between this one? This one's black, isn't it? And this one has got more of an orangey sort of color. You might think to yourself, what on earth is the difference? Sorry about that. The game drive radio is open. Let me just turn that off. And can you clearly see the black versus orange, eh, BK? Okay, so on the right over, on the left over here, my left, if we break this open inside, It's very, very clearly, and I'll turn this one over. Okay, and you see the orange. Now over here, look at that. That's a big piece of bark. There's a leaf, an actual tree leaf. Over there, there's some grass in there, of course. But this is for an elephant. Now, elephants and black rhino have got very similar looking dung. But the black rhino, they chop their little bits of branch at about 2 centimeters at a 45-degree angle. But the color is very similar. You won't find long strips of bark like this in a black rhino dung. They actually bite it. And then here, the white rhino eats only grass. You can clearly see the difference on the inside there. So that is the grass on the inside. And because it's come out and got oxidized, can you see how nice and black it's gotten? And because the elephant has been eating trees and bark and roots and all that, there's a lot of tannin. And tannin has got a very nice, strong orange color. Leather is actually tanned using bark from trees to make it nice and soft and pliable. And tannin is something that plants give off. It's an anti-feedant. I know that's quite a big word, but in grass, silica is the anti-sort of feedant. Animals try to avoid eating because it wears down the teeth. Remember, the silica braids down the teeth. And tannin is something you find in trees, and it actually binds to protein. So an animal that fills its belly with a tannin-rich food can't digest it. Okay, so there's the difference between an elephant and a white rhino. You can clearly see the difference is quite enormous. And over here, we've got a little pellet of an impala, and they're a mixed feeder. I break it open. You can see inside there. Look at how well broken down this is inside. If you compare it to this white rhino, can you see the plant particles have been broken down to an enormous degree? And that is the rumination that they do. They sit down, they chew, they chew, they chew, they chew. And then through the digestive system, they make the particles smaller. They absorb much more nutrients because the smaller the particles are, the more surface area around them there is for digestion by microorganisms in the gut. And then you can clearly see the impala versus the buffalo before has absorbed a huge amount of the moisture out of that dung. So it's not slippy and not wasted moisture. So the buffalo is not the most adapted animal when it comes to water conservation, and they use a lot of water every single day. Amber, you want to know if other animals, if herbivores will eat meat. Well, warthogs are regarded as omnivore. Any animal that eats a bit of meat is regarded as an omnivore. Baboons, chimpanzees, humans, but elephants don't, giraffe don't. These animals will eat soil, they will eat dung, and they will eat bone to assist in all the minerals that they are lacking. Okay, so now on the right over here, you can see a very different pellet, can't you? Now, this is one of the smallest critters we see around, but have a look at the size of that versus the size of that. Now, this is an impala on the left, and this is a scrub hare on the right. Look how much bigger the scrub hare is than the impala. So it's also very bad digestive system. But anyway, we're going to carry on, see if we can find any wonderful things this afternoon. In the meantime, TAYLA MCCURDY has still got some elephants.
Now I know there are going to be many oohs and ahs as we watch this tiny little elephant. It's so small. Look how hairy it is. Probably only a few months old too. And it was feeling quite brave just now. It turned around and stomped in the road and tried to charge us. Where are you going? You know it's a small elephant when it gets lost in the grass. Are you tired? Are you just going to have a sit-down little sleep? It is so precious. Okay, I'm going to move up a little bit closer. You can see Mom just walking close by with the little one. So this is actually my favorite herd of elephants, and I'm going to try and show you my favorite elephant. There she is. She's so cool. Okay, I'm going to try get her at the perfect look. Hi guys, it's me again. We see them all the time. Let's see if we can actually see on in there. I'm very excited. I've been trying to show you this for weeks, not weeks, but the last week at least. This elephant must be one of the matriarchs, and I like to call her Alicia Keys because she has a big keyhole-shaped nick in her ear. So she's very easy to see. We've actually put this herd on screen for you a number of different times. There's lots of little babies in it, and they're very tolerant of the cars. So I enjoy seeing them. I also think that this is the same herd that has the young leucistic bull, but I'm just trying to find him. But it's difficult, as you can see, because where they've decided to come and feed, it's quite thick, but it also keeps them out of the wind. So they'll be much happier with that, because elephants can get very grumpy on windy days. Gert, would you like me to go up a little bit closer so you can see this elephant? There's one elephant that's just hiding here behind the bushes. I think it's the same digging elephant we were watching earlier. We shall watch it again now. Hi, girl. Looks like a young female. Very much into the roots today. Very down to earth, this elephant. I think I'm very funny. I apologize if you don't appreciate my dad jokes. Not even a whisper from the crowd today. It's okay, it's fine. Luckily I've got a thick skin. I can go all day long. But anyways, yes, the elephants are just digging, they're just feeding. They're actually moving further and further into this block, but luckily for us, there's lots of little intertwining roads that we can drive on, and I think we'll just pretty much keep playing catch up with the elephants this afternoon. Like I said, it's a lovely herd, but we're at the tail end again. So we'll need to charge on forward to get to the front. We're going to keep driving, and I am going to try and get to see the trunks of the elephant, or go across to Shaun, who's tailing after a lion.
So indeed, we have caught up with the lions. So you can see a number of them coming out of the bushes, because that's where they ran to when those elephants came to chase them. Oh, one just went to the toilet right next to the car, and it smells horrible again. Oh, but you can see quite a lot of them here. A lot of the younger ones. There's a big female that's going to come into the screen now. There she is. Now that's the leader. You can see that white dot. Oh, she's going to the toilet as well. It's going to be wonderful where we are. But you should have seen, so as we got here, just after the elephants left, there was one lion here. We saw one sitting up on this termite mound. And then slowly but surely the rest started coming out of the bushes, making their way back towards where we are now. If we just ask OD to zoom, let's say zoom out, but zooming in with this is the lead female. She's the one that's in charge of the whole pride, or the whole Birmingham pride. She's the matriarch. Now we had one of the Ross males, the grumpy Ross male, is with them as well. He's already walked past us. It looks like some of them, they're all starting to lie down a bit behind us. So as soon as she's gone through, we will turn around. But now if we just look at this termite mound, so this one, if you remember from yesterday morning, this is where Rowan had one of the leopards, that little young female leopard cub with the Franklins. So we're just cleaning the screen, it's raining quite hard here. This is the exact same termite mound where the leopards were. You can imagine they're obviously long gone. That's exactly where she was lying, in between those patches of grass. That's where that young female was. Seems to be quite a hot spot for the large cats. Maybe we come back here tomorrow and we find a cheetah. That would be pretty awesome. But you can see this is one of the young males. Now it's a bit challenging for you because of the grass, but he's got a bit of a mane. What I'm going to do though, OD, is we're going to reverse, because if he pans the other way, okay, so we've got a question from 9-year-old Will. Now Will wants to know why it's only the male lions that have manes here. So Will, here the male lions, they have manes for two reasons. Firstly, to make themselves look sort of big and dominating and impressive, Will, so that they can find females. Females like the big dominating looking male lions. So, well, that's the first reason, and also, well, the male lions fight. So the mane does offer a little bit of protection around that sort of vulnerable neck, throat area where they can, so where they fight just to help them whatever little bit they can, Will. So those are the two main reasons. But I don't know if you were watching, Will, 5 days ago, I got asked a very similar question. Why the lionesses don't have manes. And then I got sent a whole bunch of articles about lionesses that have manes in Botswana. And apparently it is, I read the article, and it's got to do with heightened levels of testosterone. It's quite a unique thing, Will. And what happened is these females developed manes, and they actually started exhibiting male behaviors. So they were fighting, they were scent marking, they were roaring. And it was actually quite an interesting article. Well, maybe you get your parents to read it to you. A very interesting article. So thank you for everyone who sent those links and those articles to me on Instagram. It was, yeah, very enlightening, very cool. And those females actually look quite impressive. But you can see these lions, they didn't get very far. They just went to lay down over here. Maybe another 50, 60 meters past them is the waterhole. And I think a number of these other lions have actually gone down towards that waterhole. Now that the elephants are clear, they can actually go there and they are able to drink. But of course all the young ones are fighting. Okay, so it seems like it has come to that time of the drive where the kids session is all done. So we'll luckily got a question in there. Now we open up to everybody. So kids, you're still welcome to send your questions, as well as anybody else that is watching. Now just remember to send your questions. You can at Wild Earth on Twitter or hashtag FC on the YouTube channel. And we'll try and get to as many of your questions as you can, but please continue to send them. I mean, how cool was that, though? We had reports. So this morning, while we were out, it was a bit rainy, but some of the other guys stayed out, and they managed to find the lions around here. I don't know exactly where, but very close to where we are. So we were coming to look, and then I just thought, these elephants, they're looking a bit uncomfortable. Something's going to happen. And then it did, and we came around, and bang, there are the lions. Beautiful. But have a look now from the side. Look at the ears. Both of those lines, actually all of the ones that are facing away, if you look at their ears, they're black. They're black at the back. So now that is for sort of hunting, for the cubs when they're following the lions. You know, from the back you can see that color. It's like a follow me signal. You know, so that, you know, those little cubs that we love so much, they're following the mother, they can see her black tail, they can see her black ears, and they know where to go. Or when they're hunting. You know, you obviously they don't want to roar to each other when they're hunting. It will give them away. So they look at each other's ears and body language. But now if that lion looks at us, you'll see there's no color. Got a pinky or black nose, but there's no evident black colors. You know, so if you are the wildebeest or the buffalo that they're hunting and you look at the lion, you're not going to see anything. But from behind, you can see it. It's very interesting. I mean, how can you see the one walking there, Eddie? So look at the one walking. So Nana commenting that she loves the colors, and this is a perfect example. I mean, look at that. The ears and the tail stand out. Everything else blends in with that brown grass, the brown sat so well. And Nana, I agree with you. I mean, the colors of these lions are beautiful. They're in great condition. They're healthy, nice coats. A little bit wet now because of the rain. But they're pulling it off. They're looking very well camouflaged. They're looking very, very beautiful there. Also, the other one that was on the termite mound. Oh, look at the white one. Oh, did you see that? The white one just ran past there. She's fighting. Very playful. Now, I don't want to go down there just yet, purely because in that waterhole, the signal is not too good. So I think we'll stay here for now. If they all go over there, then we'll definitely go down there and see if we can get a look. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to sit here with our lazy lions. We're going to send you over to Juma with TRISHALA.
Lazy indeed. Now, Ribbon, and it looks like Sutu behind her, sitting away from the den, but still within about 30-40 meters of the den. And they are indeed very lazy, just having a bit of a nap. Also meant that Davi and I could sit here and wait out the wind and the rain. It's definitely calmed down quite a bit now. Of course, only after we decided to put all our covers on, put the flaps down, all of that. And now it is calmed down. Yeah, these guys knocked out cold. I'm hoping if we stick around here that Ribbon might go towards the actual den entrance and grab the cubs. Maybe they'll start playing and venturing further away from the den, especially since she's sitting further away from the den. It's also a good spot to listen out for alarm calls. Treehouse Dam is not far, it's just south of here. Quarantine is just north of here, and there's a bit of elevation. So it's a good spot to just listen out for alarm calls. So we're going to spend some time here. Ted, you say Ribbon snoozes a lot. She certainly does, but I'm sure any mother of 2-3-month-olds would also love to snooze a lot, especially if their 3-month-olds were able to take care of themselves inside of the den and no danger could come to them. And they could actually feel relaxed enough. Just listening because I hear the occasional cub sound, that sort of high-pitched squeal, squittering that happens, but I'm not hearing it from this den. Which I think is interesting. At one point I did suspect that Hart may be pregnant and she was coming around to this den. Buffalo at Treehouse Dam, I would think. I think we should go and just check it out. It's just south of us here, Treehouse Dam, so we can have a look, see if we can find those buff. Getting the occasional I'll be back, girl. Excuse me. You look like a bit of a traveling circus with these rain roofs on, and of course I can't see behind me, which poses a bit of a problem. There we go. Darby is showing you. Let's hope we don't scratch that tree again. Oh, we made it, everyone. Feels like I should have lights and bells. Sorry, Em, I only got part of that.
Send it to Steve.
Oh, send it to Steve. Let me send it to Steve. Let me send it.
Thanks, Trish. Well, you reverse, you do your thing. And, well, we're going to continue on a little bit of dung this afternoon. Why not? And here is a very characteristic sign. You might wonder what on earth's going on here, but it's all the way in the bush, all the way up here. This is a hippopotamus. Has walked, he's taken his bottom, all into the tree. And hippos do this to mark their territory, some people say, and also signboards and signposts to come to and from wherever it is they're coming from, which is normally the water. Here's Chitwa down here, and they'll do this to and from. There's some wonderful stories about that, which we can get into, but I've got a little bit of hippo dung on the front there, which I can show you. Picked it up just before. And versus rhino dung, it's very similar, except rhino doesn't do that. No other animal does what the hippo does, and it looks like a whole bunch of straw. You see that hippo's got an even worse ability to chew the food than the rhino does. You see, it looks like huge sticks of straw in there. So when you do find hippo dung, it looks very much like white rhino. Sometimes they do fall asleep on the side of the road in a little culvert, and you'll find a few of these. Good afternoon. Sorry about my Cape Drive radio. It's always the same guy who's talking. Okay.
Go round and round.
And that's Trishala. Okay, so now the rest of the dung, what have we got here? We have got two that look very, very similar. Do you agree? Okay, so the one on the right, and you see how black it is. The one on the left, it's kind of got blackish tinge to it, but for the most part, it's quite orange inside. And you see that. Okay, so now let's just break this one. Oh, we'll leave that one. Stop squeaking. I break this. This is a little bit fresher than the others. But what's interesting to see about it is if I turn it sideways, show you the two here. Can you see how the one in my right hand is flat on two sides, whereas this one is not? Can you see that? You see it, BK? This one is black. This one is not black. Now, if I take this one and show you the front, can you see there's that crack there? And it just breaks perfectly in sort of a half. Do you see that? That is zebra. That is exactly what zebra dung does. And this one over here, the warthog. Now, warthogs have a similar diet, of course, but they also feed on roots and grasses. There you can see the difference in the inside. The warthog has got a far less ability to chew properly. You see how well ground up the zebra dung is versus the warthog. But in comparison to the hippo, I mean, look at the hippo there. He's basically just gone and shredded grass in his mouth and swallowed it. Very big difference. And so there we go. For the animals I've shown you this afternoon, elephant, white rhino, zebra, warthog, and hippo have all got a very similar digestive system. Miss Anna, you didn't know dung could look so different. Well, it's called scatology for a reason. There's lots of different poo out there, and we've basically dealt with, although the hippo's got a bit of a strange digestive system, we've basically, apart from that impala, we've dealt with hindgut fermenters, which means they get all that grass into the stomach, it goes past the stomach, and an enlarged cecum in the rear of the tummy. Lots of gas, lots of fermentation. That's where the digestion takes place. But before we get too deep into that, let's send you back over to TAYLA McCurdy.
That we've caught up with a fabulous herd of elephants that we pretty much spent the entire afternoon with. They're moving all around us at the moment. Majority of the herd is pushing through all the thick stuff, but we've got a couple of bulls marching down the road towards us. We've had two pass us already. Let's see what this boy is going to do. Probably come and cause some trouble. No, found a little animal pathway to slip on down. But it's not over yet. We've got yet another one. Did you know that elephants come in waves? I didn't until today. But I think it's quite a dramatic scene. It actually makes for a very nice picture with the vegetation sort of on either side and the different colors of the leaves. You can see this elephant has got his ears open just slightly. He's smelling us. He's like, nah, not having any of it. I'm gonna duck off a little bit earlier. Or maybe not. No, he is. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is I'm literally just gonna reverse because there's another elephant behind us. Hello, boy. He's quite relaxed. We'll see. No, don't walk away. Come back. He doesn't want to come back. Fingers crossed. There's another elephant down the way. We'll see if we can get a look at this bull here. The one I wanted to show you, not having any of it, and is marching away from us. So here's the elephant that flared his ears at us. So it's very normal for animals to be slightly jumpy in weather conditions like this afternoon, and particularly elephants. I'm surprised that they've actually allowed us to be with them in the herd at all. I thought that a big elephant cow would have said, right, off you go, and when elephant cow talks to me, I normally listen. So these young bulls that sort of tailing the edge of the herd, I'm not too worried about them. They're normally quite bossy and boisterous and trying to push their weight around, but, you know, we just sort of sit quietly, and then they tolerate us. But he's settled now. He's gobbling up something to eat. Thank you so much, Paul, for that compliment. I do enjoy spending time with elephants. They're honestly my favorite animal. Like I said, if you ever come on safari with anybody in Africa, and I just think that the elephants in South Africa are just unbelievable in this greater Kruger ecosystem. They are so relaxed, and they are very interactive as well. I know that sounds silly. When I say interactive, I don't mean like touching the cars or touching people, but just they come around the vehicles and they give you space, but they're so close as well. For example, my mom is absolutely terrified of elephants, and she doesn't, this is even too close for her, and we're probably about 15 meters away from this elephant, this young bull, and this would be way too close for her, and she gets uncomfortable and quite jumpy. So, you know, some people are very much the same, but you'll see, they come up and they're super chilled, and, you know me, I don't like to get too close, especially to the really big bulls. When they stand and tower right next to the car, that's a bit uncomfortable. But these young bulls are really entertaining. And then the sub-adult elephants too, when they come around the car and throw sticks at you, and it's all very playful. It's nothing really aggressive or anything like that. Right. But it seems as though it is all happening this afternoon on the Sunset Safari. Off you go back to Ngala. The lions are bounding about.
So yes, guys, what happened? The lions came down to the waterhole, well, most of the little ones at least, and they were calling. There was a whole roar. So the lions that we saw were roaring, and the rest of the pride, which were further north, replied, and they were roaring back. And now you can see the big white male there, the one on the left. He just joined up. He came from further north here, and he just joined up with the rest of them. So we can see he's going to go to all the lions. They're all chasing him. They're all trying to play with him because he's been separated from them. I think for the day, the pride was broken up into two halves. One half being two females, one of them the mother of the young cubs, the young male, and the other Ross male were separated. And now you can see a little reunion, lovely little happy time. You can see they're all starting to gather here, and I've got a feeling that hopefully they're all going to come here and they're all going to start roaring. If OD zooms out a little bit, you will see there the other, so that's the dark man Ross male, the one that we saw just now. So he's scent marking there in the bush now. If you look carefully, he's going to lift up his tail, maybe spray a bit of urine into that bush. He's rubbing his face in there, just putting his scent there. You see, look at that, lifting the tail, scent marking. Territorial. This is a dominance thing, and I'm hoping that they're going to roar again just to call the rest of the pride that still hasn't come yet. Did you get that, Eddie? Yeah, Kerry, sorry, we got a bit of signal there. Kerry's saying she's loving this family gathering. It is so special. I mean, to see them all together when that white male came, and they all came together, they all joined up. Oh, look, he's saying hello to Dad there. Oh, see that? Grumpy male, trying to bite him gently. But Kerry, you're 100% right. These sort of gatherings are so awesome. It's so special to see. I mean, I was sitting here with OD, and I was like, OD, this is crazy. It's so cool. And it is. You know, because it's not often a pride, I guess they're generally together all the time. So to see them now sort of rejoining and saying hello to each other all over again is really awesome. I mean, what, we got 2 big females there, 3 big females. So there's 2 females missing, like I said, the Ross male, the young male, and then the 2 little cubs. And from the sounds of their roars, it's not far. Where I saw that young white male coming, maybe 200 meters at the most, I saw him appear.
Okay, so we got a somewhat complicated question from Vicky. Now, Vicky wants to know how old is a male lion when it starts roaring. So, Vicky, I'm hoping they're going to roar again for you now, because when they roared earlier, even the younger ones were roaring. And these younger ones are about a year, 8 months, between a year 4 and a year 8 months. And they're already roaring. Now, they're not doing it very loudly, or they're just doing it because everyone else is. You know, they're trying to be cool and they're doing it because of everyone else. So, Vicky, in terms of a territorial roar, like that Ross male would do, then these lions, the males would need to be maybe 6, 7 years old to do a territorial roar. But even now, they're learning how, and they are making the noises. And I'm hoping you're all going to see today. We're going to sit here until they roar. Okay, but while we wait for the rest of the pride to join and hopefully another roar, what we're going to do is send you across to Steve.
Well, we have found a wonderful fish eagle pair. Look at the chest. This bird has got almost a full crop, it seems. We actually heard 2 of them making a noise. One flew down here to the water. Has been having a bit of a drink. And the other one flew off into the trees with, I'm not sure what it was. I wasn't able to get a look at it. Something that didn't seem to be a fish. So after this guy flies off, we might go along this little path here and see if we can find that fish eagle again. See if we can figure out what it is that they caught. We are in Chitwa, everybody. There is a resident pair of fish eagles here, and this is their turf. I don't seem to be getting comms there. I need to just change my access. Much better, thanks, Emma. You see the chest there? The crop has got some food in it. You're looking down at its crop belly. Birds store their food there. And they're not only fish eaters, fish eagles. This guy looks like he wants to eat some mud. Cleaning his beak, her beak. And look at the crop. You can see it now, how distended it is. Oh, how wonderful. Such wonderful images. That beak defined as a raptor's beak for ripping and tearing. All raptors have got sharp talons on their feet. And a sharp, little blacksmith lapwing is trying to give the fish eagle a hard time. And a very sharp curved beak like that for ripping meat. Raptors obviously, their adaptation is to be able to hold things with the foot and to be able to rip it apart with the beak. Obviously, some organisms they're able to completely swallow whole, but they do eat lots of things bigger than bite size. Nancy, that's intense, isn't it? That is basically, it's like being born with knives on your hands. That's essentially what that is. Okay, very good. Well, let's send you over to Shaun, whose lions seem to be quite active.
These lions are crazily reactive, and it's all thanks to the weather. But now look carefully. So, Vicky, we were just talking about the lions roaring. Look at that one there. That's a young one. Maybe a year, 4 months, a year, 6 months. And watch, every now and then he tries to roar. There we go. See that? It's an attempted roar. So you can see all of these lions have moved away from the water. They all moved further to the right, further to the north. Well, look at those two stalking the young with the male, the Ross male. They're all heading straight for the Ross male. Probably not the wisest move on their behalf. He is the grumpy one. But look, he seems to be... Oh! Maybe he doesn't seem to be tolerating them. But they are so active. It's because of the weather. It's because of the cold. There's very dark clouds above us now. There's lots of little raindrops coming. And I think it's going to start raining again. So they can obviously sense this. These animals, they can just do those sorts of things. And they're starting to be a lot more active now with this weather coming. Now, it looks like some of them have eaten. Not all. What? I think they're all fed. Oh, listen to the ones. Go to the front again there, AD. I'm going to keep quiet. Listen. So those ones are roaring. Even the young female, the white female on the left there, she also just tried to roar. You guys just have to have patience with me. They're going to roar again. They're still missing. No one else has joined. So they're still looking to join up. And I think they will definitely roar again. So we are going to sit here. All of you are going to sit with me. We're going to wait. Because there's a lot of activity. I mean, these lions, they are grooming each other. They are playing. They are digging holes in the sand. They are chasing each other. The little ones are roaring. You see how they're all facing that same direction? That's where the white male came from. So this is a little riverbed, a dry riverbed. And he came from further up the riverbed. Now it actually works out for them. Because, as I said, the weather, it's raining. It's very windy. So obviously sound, if you upwind and you're calling downwind, it will work. Look at that posture. Look at his head down. Crouching a bit. He's trying to stalk. He's trying to stalk, I think, his brother, the white male. I think he's seen him already. Oh, look at that posture. So this is all so important. We were discussing 5 days ago about behavior and playing and how important it is. And that stalking like that, this is how they learn. This is what he's going to do when he stalks buffalo, when he stalks wildebeest, zebra. Exactly the same. You've got to hide. You've got to keep nice and low. And you see how well, look at that there. Perfect by Erdy. Look at the camouflage. Look how much that white one stands out. And if you go 2 meters to the right of the white one, there's another. Oh, look at that. So playful. These two both look like females. You can see under their necks, not a lot of fur growing there, which would tell us that they're females. Even at this age, the males will have much longer hair there, even now that they're starting to grow. That one's, I think, rubbing on the log, the one at the back. There you can see, it's maybe smelling, so that's like a scratching post. So, you know, something like a buffalo or a warthog or maybe a rhino will come and go into the water, or hyena even, and get wet, to get muddy, and then scratch themselves on that little tree there. So it's likely that lion was trying to smell. Okay, so we got a question from Jackie. Now, I think I heard most of it. She wanted to know, what sort of behavior do we look for to tell us it's a dominant male lion? I'm not sure it was a male or a female, but we'll do both, Jackie. So in a male, Okay. Okay, so Jackie's question was for a dominant lioness. What behaviors do we look for? Now, Jackie, there's not much. You know, the one that we say here is the dominant one. She's the oldest one in the pride. The oldest female. It's her and her sister. And it just happens, you know, she gets up and she walks. And then all the lions get up and they walk. So it's more the behavior of the other lions towards her. You know, it's like she does something, everyone watches, everyone does it. You know, so if another lioness stood up, everyone would carry on sleeping, Jackie. So it's more how they treat her is what we watch for. You know, so she stands up, everyone follows, and you can be like, okay, let's carry on watching that female, because there's a very good chance everyone defers to her in the pride. They're all watching her, see where she's going, see what she's doing. Very likely she would be the dominant female. But dominant's a bit of a stretch of the word. You know, it's not like she gets to eat first or she gets to mate first. It's nothing like that. It's just when they're moving, they defer to her to choose when and where to go. It's not like a male lion like this dark-maned Ross male here, the grumpy one. He's the dominant one, you can tell, Jackie, because, you know, he mates first. He will fight the rest to eat first. And that makes him the dominant one. He will fight his brother and sometimes even try and mate with his brother just as a display of dominance. Like, look, I'm bigger, I'm stronger than you. Where the females, they're not going to display that sort of behavior, Jackie. You can feel it now, the wind's starting to die down a little bit. This would be probably a good time for them to call. Their noises, their calls will travel down this riverbed, channeled by the banks, and then cover a much further distance. You know, they're lucky because they are sort of upwind of the other half of the pride. Well, what are we missing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members of the pride. So we've got 12 here, and then there's 6 missing. Okay, so we're going to wait again until they call. And while we do that, though, we're going to send you across to Trishala, who's also got some playful little animals.
And these 2 little ones have decided to poke their heads out. Mum is just on the other side of the den. They're now just surveying the area because, yes, we now are the king of the castle. Now, I think that we have a male and a female. And I think that the brown, slightly lighter one, this one that's investigating the top there, I think that might be the male. But it's so difficult with little cubs. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Ribbon herself was thought to be male until she had Intima and the Mula. This is quite interesting because Mum is not, and because she's on the other side of the mound, they can't actually see her, so they're being very brave. They can obviously smell her, but they're being very brave. You have something stuck to your face, little one. How spotty those legs are now. We'll actually be able to see some identifying marks. Now they'll keep their spot pattern into their adulthood from the moment they start to get spotty. The only difference is that these spots would be really close together when they're little, which makes sense because their body is so small. And then as they grow, there'll be more spaced apart. Look at that left leg. Quite a concentration of spots in a line diagonally. Hi, Yuzo. You'd like to know, well, how long do they actually stay in the den for? By the time they're about 6 months, they'll start to move away from the den. But what will usually happen is they'll keep kind of a den site. They'll be mature between 2 and 3 full adults. And as you would have seen with the last litter, like Sutu is about a year now. A year and a bit. I think Sutu might have been born June last year. I must just double check, but I think it was. Oh, and Dylan has something exciting for you, so let's go over and see what it is.
We have a baby pangolin. A baby pangolin. This is the most incredible thing. I know I keep saying this. Here's a baby pangolin, guys. We've been hoping, we're looking for something completely different. This is off the charts. This animal is about from your fingertips to your elbow. That's the total length of this animal. Oh my word. Yes, this is unreal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is like now my 4th Christmas in a week. We should do this more often. Yes, we've been looking for something completely different, and we came across this little thing. This is just, I'm staggered. So I'm just grabbing the cable there. Yes, I'm so excited. We're just going to go very quietly, very quietly. Just, I'm blown away, Boo, this is awesome. I'm just talking very softly. So these little ones, I'm just going to see if I can go see if it's actually gone down a burrow. The little ones get left by themselves while the mother goes out foraging. So the mother could be kilometers away. This little one will go, but they forage for very, very short periods of time, and then they go down, and they can. Okay, the other guys have got lion being chased by elephants. So head over there quickly.
Okay, so crazy stuff happening here. Look at all of these elephants that just came down to the waterhole. I don't know, there must be 30, 40 of them that have joined up now. And of course they sort of chased the lions. So the lions heard them coming. These elephants were trumpeting the whole way down. Now the lions are moving down and around us. I think they're actually trying to use us as a bit of cover. But as long as the elephants stay on that side and we stay here, we're all good for now. So you can see out there, that's where the Ross male and 2 of the females have gone. Now those elephants, they can smell that there's lions here. They're all actually facing the other direction. I'm not sure why they're facing the other way, but they're facing the other way. It could be that they encountered the other lions on their way here and chased them. But we heard a bit of trumpeting, but I didn't see any actual lions moving. Yeah, Monique in London, I don't even know what's going on. I mean, it's just like, we were like, link to us, and they're like, we have a pangolin. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. Stay with your pangolin. That's just crazy. It's like everything's happening. An elephant trying to get up the bank. On the right there. I mean, it's phenomenal stuff. That's when you know you're having a good day. Moinoi, 100%. You are very correct. So Moinoi is saying that lions will respect elephants' personal space. Definitely. Now, a lot of people say, oh, lions, king of the bush, king of the jungle, all of that. It's not really. Elephants are definitely the kings. Elephants don't run away from anything. One of these elephants could walk right here in front of the car and chase all of these lions away. and the lions will run very fast. Where the elephants, they are pretty safe. Nothing's going to do anything to them. So my eyes will just have a look there where that white one's going. It's like those two are trying to dig something up. Maybe a little worm, a millipede or something like that that's trying to hide in the little crevice. But how insane is this? I mean, you got... Okay, so it sounds like we're getting a few comments from you guys saying you're a bit worried because that lioness with the cubs, I said, was close by. So yes, but from what I understand, the elephants came from the left-hand side. Okay, I saw them coming from a distance, but they were coming from the left, where the female with the cubs was more directly in front of us, so more over the top of the car. Yeah, exactly. So in that direction, that's where the female with the cubs is, and the elephants came from there. So I think we're all pretty safe right now, and they're all going to be fine, and there's not going to be any problems. Okay, so while we continue to just be amazed by the wildlife, we're going to send you across to TRISHALA, who's being amazed by the hyenas.
They are very crazy. They're having the time of their lives. Now let me just correct myself. Sudu was born in about December 2018, Jan of last year, sometime between then. Getting back to that question about when they'll leave the den. And it wasn't about between June and September last year that we stopped seeing them at a den. The lines were a little bit blurred because we had a kind of a succession. Corky, Pretty, June, and Ribbon had cubs a couple months apart. But there comes a point when they're too large for the den. And once they become big like that, around 6 months to 8 months, they'll actually start digging the hole themselves. So when they're little like this, Mum will find an existing hole, put them in, and then for safety, once they're large, they'll actually start to dig it so that they can fit in. Remember, these dens are dug in a way that adults are not able to get in. That also means that predators can't get in. While they were fighting, they both had their penis and pseudopenis erect, and I was able to see quite well. Carrie, you say you love their coloring at the moment. I do too. And I especially love how we didn't see them for a few days, and it's starting to change so much. This one that Dov is showing you now, I suspect that is a male. See, it's also light, well, it's lighter, so that's a way to identify it. It's also a little bit smaller. Oh no, it seems like tire chewing days are starting. And the darker one, that's near the mouth, that one looks to be a female. We'll have to wait for them to grow a little bit before we can be absolutely sure, but in my opinion, after having a good look, I think we have a male and female. Female is the darker one, and male is the lighter, smaller one. What a life they have ahead of them. So much to learn, so many dynamics. The world is just a big, beautiful place. And I can't wait to watch them grow up. I'm sure that you guys can't wait either. But we've got to continue to do what we do in order to keep on watching them. So please go over to our support page. There should be some details coming up soon, so that we can continue to bring you these gorgeous little cubs, as well as many other treasures of the bush. No offense to Ribbon, but it is nice to have a view of them without her obstructing it. And I feel like they're a little bit rougher when she's not around, or she's not watching them directly. Oh, they're so unpredictable. I love it. So much energy. Anyway, let me send you over to SHAUN at Ambience and Gala, whose lions are also roughhousing.
So you see that? That's the last of the elephants. Across, going over the bank, and then we got the lions over here. So everyone sort of moved a safe distance and then stopped. So the elephants had their drink, and they thought the lions were far enough away. So as you can see in the sort of close left of your screen, we got 4 of them. I think we got, listen. Did you see how this female here lifted up her head? The one in the center of your screens there lifted up her head. Listen, there's lions calling. It might just be some of the cubs. Yeah, no, it's not very loud. I think it might actually just be some of those cubs down there just playing tomfoolery. Because if they all had to roar in terms of the rest of the ones that we're missing. So just look at all these males here, Eddie, the adults. So you can see now a number of these adults, even the Ross male, they've got their head up, they're looking. They're listening. Now I think they can also hear some of these cubs calling, and they thought maybe it was the other lions. But if the other lions were calling, these ones would reply. It would be very, very loud. You would all hear it. Even all the way in London. Very, very loud. But I think for now it was just those youngsters just playing around. Just practicing. But you never know, it might instigate the adults to then do it themselves. Though they look like they're being a little bit lazy now. You can just see, it's like, you know, when I was growing up, we'd go away with other families and all the parents would sit on one side and all the kids on the other. So striped horse, that is a good question. So striped horse wants to know, why do the elephants chase the lions? Surely the lions are not much of a threat to the elephants. And that is very true, striped horse. The lions are not much of a threat to the elephants. But, you know, elephants are, when they're young, they can still be prey. If you get an elephant calf, anything sort of 5-7 years, even older, sounds okay, maybe 7 or 8 years, if it's alone and it's separated and it's away from its family, it got lost overnight or something, and a pride like this came along, they could potentially catch it. It's not unheard of. I watched a video in Botswana where 32 lions caught a 20-something-year-old elephant. So it is possible. Striped horse is highly unlikely, but it is possible. And these elephants just grow up instinctually They are a prey species. Lions are a predator species. That's just how it is. Even if it is unlikely, that's just the way their lives are. It's just instinctual. So if they can, they will chase the lions away. It doesn't matter. You'll see. Remember when this female with the young cubs was denning? She had her den there in the river. And, you know, we would say we don't get too close, things like that, because even those cubs, they're not a threat to anything. Those cubs couldn't kill a mouse if it came past them. But if a buffalo saw them, or if a elephant saw them, they would try and kill the cubs, because they know instinctually these cubs could grow up. These cubs could grow up to then kill the buffalo, or kill another elephant. So it's just an instinctual thing, striped horse, to chase predators if you can. But on the subject of little cubs, it sounds like Tswala's little hyena cubs are still playing around quite a lot. So while we wait, we'll send you over there.
They certainly are. They're a risk to the sticks, a risk to the mound, a risk to each other. Very, very, very playful. Totally unpredictable. Getting the skin on the face is definitely not pleasant. Hi Lottie, you'd like to know if environmental factors determine the sex of hyena cubs like in turtles? No. The whole chromosomal situation determines the sex of hyena cubs. So XX female, XY male. I know it may seem very ambiguous, especially with their genitalia being so similar. But females are most definitely female and males are most definitely male. They're not hermaphrodites, like some legends say. Although you can see why people would think that. First they see an animal, it's got all the male genitalia, and then all of a sudden it's got cubs. But it's important to have a good understanding of their biology and know that they certainly are males and females. They're not hermaphrodites. Too cute. We've been having an awesome drive today. So Steve has a lone hyena, Juma clan boy, I think. Let's go over and see who it is.
I'm not too sure, and it's not very cute, that's for sure. It's got its nose in the air though, everybody. This is how we find leopards the easiest way. The easiest way is actually when Shadulu comes to us in the morning and walks right past us while we're having a coffee. That's the easiest way. But then the second easiest way is a hyena that leads you to them. Watch out, DK. It's a hyena that picks up the scent. Sorry, the roof has got poles on it, which making it sound very violent in the back. But BK's okay, everybody. He's still alive. It sounded a little bit hectic there, but it was okay. I promise. So we're just going to follow this guy a little bit. I don't know who this hyena is. The ambient mic makes it sound very, very dangerous, and it's okay. BK, you're right, eh? Give everybody a thumb up. Come on, tell them you're right. There he goes. See, he's still got his left arm. He's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to follow because the hyena's got his nose to the ground. It walked across the airstrip there. We're still on Chitwa, and I've found Tlalamba and Tingana a number of times with this exact strategy. And this is the area where Kuchava, who's one of Tandi's previous cubs, she's a fully grown, fully mature leopard with one cub at the moment, one cub. And Kuchava means the scared one, although she's not actually scared. She's very beautiful. And if you haven't met her before, she resembles Tandi enormously. So a lot of these little shrubs that we're pushing over are bush encroaching species of the black monkey orange. They are very invasive here. Now hopefully we'll get another image of this hyena for you so you can help us identify. It's got a similar wound on the rear buttocks like Ntsaka's got, but it's not the same as Ntsaka. It's got a bit of a scar and then that weird pink raised bit on the bum. Hyenas are notorious for attacking each other in dominance displays and hierarchies, and the males get the brunt of it, especially on the hindquarters, especially when they run away, when they interact with wild dogs. That's where the dogs bite them, is on the bum. Shame, hey? Okay, you're going right into the thickets there, my friend. I think it's a boy, but no expert at identifying these fellows. Can you even see him, BK? Or is everyone just watching the lovely back of my head? And some of the bushes we push over, we go straight over, and they pop right back up. So this is basically linking us back through towards Chitwa driveway, which is where Tristan told me he kept getting Kuchava with her cub. So obviously Aleste will move her cub, as we've seen. Kuchava's cub's older than Tandi's. I don't actually know how old. Do you know, BK? I haven't seen it. BK said he saw her in December. This could pay off well. Hyena, although it hasn't been on the camera, has stopped a few times to do the typical nose in the air kind of thing. And then obviously when these termite mounds materialize here, there's always going to be leopard scent. Leopards love to pop up on these termite mounds, as we've seen. I wish I could track like a hyena tracks. Just walk through the bush and go, oh, here's the leopards, everybody. Wouldn't that be a wonderful skill? Okay, well, Shaun has already got some cats, so while we keep up with this fellow, let's send you back over to him and his lions.
Okay, so as you can see, we got some of these youngsters now joining up with the adults. You can see there comes the young white male. So all of them have started to move up this way. It looks like they're starting to relax again. Weather's changed a bit, the rain has stopped. Wind's died down slightly. Still getting very cold. But the wind has died down. So it's most likely these guys now, they're relaxing a bit. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but it looks like some of them have eaten. You can see, especially on the younger ones, some of them have quite full stomachs. And whatever they ate, I don't think it was anything big. They maybe had something like a wildebeest or a kudu. That was enough to sort of sate everybody, but not enough to make them all fat looking. But that's probably why they're relaxing so much more, because now they don't have any immediate need to get up and go anywhere to do anything, to hunt. You know, I'm still assuming that they will roar again, because the pride hasn't joined up. The other ones are still missing. I haven't heard any more calling since the last time, and no more lions have come. So I'm hoping that they are still going to roar a little bit later. And OD brought out his really cool sort of, what would you call it, night vision spotlight, which doesn't emit an actual light. It just sort of shines, and the camera can pick it up, which is very cool. But for now, they do look quite lazy. You can see those ones at the back there on the right. They still got their heads up. They're still looking around. They're still listening. Now it just seems to be the busy time. You know, that's the second herd of elephants we've seen come down to the waterhole. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get maybe one more, maybe even some zebras coming down until they see the lions. Then they're obviously going to run away again. But this is the time where a lot of those daytime animals will come and get their last drink before they go find a place to sleep for the night. You know, because now it's getting quite late. It's almost 5 o'clock. And it's going to be dark in the next sort of half an hour, 45 minutes. It's going to be dark. So a lot of those daytime animals need to do their last things now before they go and find a comfortable place to lie down. And it's going to be hard for them, because right where we are, back up behind us, is a massive clearing. You can't see it, but I promise you it's there. And that's a place quite often where we find impalas, zebras, wildebeest, where they sleep, because it's open, it's safe, and they can't be hunted. Where now, it's obviously not going to work out as usual. So it'll be interesting to see where they move to. Because this weather now, this is hunting weather. Tomorrow, on Nikki's game drive, I'll be surprised if we don't find a carcass, be it from lions or leopards or whatever it is. But tonight, all the predators are going to be hunting again. With the clouds, it means there's going to be no moonlight, there's going to be no starlight. Okay, so we've got a question from Torek, wanting to know if the lions will sort of maintain their bonds. And will those bonds help them when they hunt? And Torek, definitely. Definitely. You saw, as that young white male joined up with the pride, he sort of played with a number of them, bumped heads, they chased him. And it's playing, but it's a greeting as well. They will greet each other, and that will reaffirm those bonds. And those bonds definitely then relate back into the hunting. Because now the better you know someone, you know, look, you know, your friends, Tarek, you look at your friends that you've been friends with for many, many years, and you can look at them and you can know what they're thinking or what they're going to do. And these lions are exactly the same. They've got these strong, strong social bonds, and one lioness can look at another one and they know, okay, she's going to go that way, I'm going to go this way. And that's exactly what the hunting is. Hunting is, it's vital to be as quiet as possible. So you just want to be able to look at each other and say, this is what's happening. And these social bonds. And I watch this one, you probably bump heads with somebody. Is he going to walk past? There we go. So he's bumping heads with the Ross male. It's a brave call. But even something as small as that, Torek, is reaffirming the social bond between them. And now they're not going to hunt together, but it's still important. Now you can see that one's a young male. He got a bit of a beard. Well, so you see a number of heads coming up now. So the rain is back. We're getting quite a few. So we got a few raindrops coming, so we're going to sit here and pray and hope the rain stays away. While we do that, we'll send you across to Dylan, who I think has left the area of the baby pangolin.
I'm still grinning like an idiot here. It's we set out this afternoon with a kind of like idea of what I would like to have got, you know, to share with you, and we got something completely different. I was, you know, in this area that we're in, it's always good to see pangolins. It's a good area for them, but they're still super thin on the ground. So the little animal, and I still won't tell you what it is, but I think some of you might have already guessed it by now. We haven't seen any further sign of them, but we onto it. But then here, these pangolin tracks crossing the road. It was an adult, yeah. So we sort of followed it in there, and and get to the burrow, and okay, well, mother's gone. Yeah, but there's little tracks. So we decided, okay, well, instead of trying to follow up and go walking around, let's just sit quietly. And the little one was actually out when we got there, and that's what blew my mind. Yeah, because we had a careful look around, didn't see anything, and next thing, ding, 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 ding. And I must say, my heart skipped a beat there, because I was so worried that, I mean, that animal must have been 1.5 meters from the burrow, 2 meters from the burrow when we saw it. And I was just like, please, Jandre, get the shot. And oh, Master Jandre there, he pulled that one off. So I'm really glad we saw that. That animal's probably, I mean, when I say it's a pup, I mean, it's still small, probably about 8 months, give or take. So Tom has just asked, how many youngsters can a pangolin have at once? One is the absolute norm. I don't even know, and I can check with Wendy Panena, our pangolin researcher. Yeah, she's been doing amazing work on pangolins. She's actually just in the process of tying up a PhD now. And I can check with her if any recorded cases are known of more than one, like twins. But to my knowledge, it'll only be one pup. And they are called pups, by the way. Yeah, that's the term for them. I'm just like blown away. This is just like, yes, no, this is amazing. And yeah, I'm actually quite speechless now. I don't know what to say. But yeah, so we're very lucky to have found that. And yeah, I'm just like still grinning like a total. But it's good. It's yeah, we're going to carry on now to see if we can find other nemesis for you. But if we get that, then it's just going to be like the icing on the cake. Anything now is going to be a complete bonus, even if it's a bird or even a tree is a bonus. But yeah, at least our colleagues have also been getting some amazing sightings this afternoon, so I'm very pleased. Yeah, pangolins anytime are good, anytime. Okay, I've got some tracks here of the other one, but I'm not gonna divulge yet just what it is. I think in the meantime, while we continue our search, head over to TRISHALA and see what she's got that side.
I have, but so have you, Dil. You've had an awesome afternoon. I heard that you were speechless at the baby pangolin. I don't think I've ever met Dylan speechless, so it must be intense. Well, as you can see, here is a den entrance with nothing at it, and that's because the little cubs have run inside. Mum and Sutu are still all the way on that side. They're obstructed by the tree, but they're just at the base of the tree there. You can just see them. There we go. So I thought I might sit. Oh, did you see the camera? Hi, Rips. Just showed us her face. Very sweet. So I thought I would maybe sit here for another 5 minutes and see if the cubs do come out again. And if they don't, then we'll just move on and see what else there is around. It always amazes me how they have a lot of energy, and it seems like no ways they're just going to calm down. You'd think that they'd tire, but then they don't. They come out with these bursts and then go in with as much of a burst. And then you don't hear a peep. Ribbon's just lifted her head up there. Veronica, you'd like to know when Ribbon introduced these cubs to the clan. It will just happen naturally. She doesn't try to hide the cubs from the clan. So what will happen is that clan members will come round to the den. We've seen Saka at the den. We've seen Comet at the den. Ntima, Hart, Sutu, Swazi, and Ndebele. That's quite a large number of the clan coming to the den. And the cubs being around. So it doesn't happen where she comes and introduces these cubs to the clan. The clan comes around and it happens in a very natural, sort of subtle process. She will maybe be a little bit protective of the cubs particularly with clan members that she's doesn't have great relationships with. So they build relationships and they kind of move together. For example, Corky and Pretty had a very good relationship, and Pretty was second in charge, or not in charge, but she was very, very well respected and high ranked. And Ribbon and June got on quite well. Now, we haven't seen June in a while. The last time I saw June was at that carcass on quarantine, which was a while back. It was during my last stint, I think. Yeah, that was with James and I. And that was the last time I saw June. So June hasn't been around very much, so perhaps she's fallen out of favor with Ribbon. But Hart has been around, and definitely Ntima, because that is Ribbon's daughter. The hyena's just come up to the side of me, but we'll see it in a moment when it starts to walk further by. So this process is very gradual, and it may be a little nervous if, say, Corky or one of those hyenas come through that she doesn't have a particularly good relationship. Hello, my friend. So they all sort of gather like this, and you can see this is Ntima. So this is who we were just speaking about. Oh, that is a great example of anal pasting right there. It may sound a bit strange. Oh, have you smelt your sister? May sound a bit strange, but that was a great shot. If we get to see it again, Darby, you can just zoom in, because you could actually see the glands that are actually inside of the anus that gets pushed out to secrete a pasty substance. That's how they mark their territory. That's what we see the little ones doing as they move around. Darby couldn't contain his giggle there. Yes, it does happen. Hyenas are a strange bunch. But the stranger, the more interesting they are. And in order to be strange, I think you have to be particularly complex. And I think that stands true for hyenas. Everyone's laughing with Darby now. It's going to be difficult to explain these things and not have a giggle or two. But you know what? Science and biology is fun as well. Why not have a bit of a laugh? It's natural. Makes it fun. Emo, you say hyenas are wonderfully strange. I think the most wonderful of the strange. Okay, everyone, get your giggles under control, because we're going to be able to see the two little cubs with their penis and pseudopenis fully erect. when they come out to greet Ntima. They've already started to pop out a little bit. And I could see that they were erect. But let's have a look, because we're gonna see for sure we have male and female. There we go. So that looks like a male. Can you see the shape of it? Very obvious head constriction just below it. So that looks male. All right, I'm going to send you quickly over to Ngala. Let's see what they've got for you.
How insane was that? Crazy! Listen. So the other half of the lions started roaring, and then these ones replied. Sham, I think I might have scared FC guys. I'm sorry, I was just really excited. Thank you for your work. But that was crazy. Like, it all just happened. You see, some of those little ones were roaring, the Ross male, the females, everyone just got involved there. And as they finished, it starts to rain a little bit. It's like they just scared the clouds into watering. But now, so that was the first time in the last, probably 40 minutes that the other half of the pride vocalized that they roared. So it could be that they're wanting to join up now, for real. I don't know. But that was still insane. I mean, to have, I've counted 12 lions here. There's 11 in this little group right here. To have 11 of them roaring. Oh, listen. So I don't know if you can hear. There's one little guy on the far right. It's not actually with the pride. There he is. But he's just been roaring by himself for the last 10 minutes. But it's good, because he's actually getting quite loud. I've been quite impressed with how loud he got. And I think that made the other half of the lions roar. Which made this half roar. So he must keep going. I think it might actually be a female. She hasn't looked this way. It hasn't looked this way. It could be a female. But that was crazy. That, what you heard as you got here, that is why I love working in the bush. Just for that. Seeing the lions is awesome, but hearing them, all of them roaring like that, is, you cannot get better than this. It is just mind-blowing. Like, my body's got little goosebumps, I got little shivers from hearing all of them roar. Okay, so 11-year-old Giselle wants to know, don't the lions' throats get sore when they call like that? Now, Giselle, I don't think so, hey? Because now, hopefully they'll do it again and then we can watch. And when they actually do that roar, they use their entire body and just sort of channels all the way up. So it's not just the throat, it's the whole body gets used, Giselle. So I don't think it hurts their throats. I don't think so. Maybe when they're practicing, some of the little ones, maybe for them, but I doubt it, Giselle. I doubt it. But while you guys were gone, there was this one lonely, very brave impala that came to drink at the waterhole. Came down from the other side where the elephants were, and it sort of came down and it made it 90% of the way. And then it saw the lions and it just stopped. And it froze. Then some of the lion cubs, the youngsters, looked up and saw it. And then the impala called a couple times. But then he actually went down and he had a drink. I think it did regret that decision. It was very risky because as it started drinking it, it's put its head down. Like one or two of these youngsters stood up. And then Paulo was like, yeah, nope, I'd rather dehydrate. Listen. I think they might call again. So if you look at the hope right here, Eddie, you see how many of them now have their heads up? When the Ross male and those females lift up their heads, that's when you know, listen. The anticipation. It was just a young one that was calling now. It was just that young one. But you see, he got loud enough to sort of excite and catch the attention of all of the adults. And it's actually very impressive. We were talking about it earlier. Sorry, Jody, look at the white female. She's stalking the lion that's roaring. Look how low she's going behind it. Oh, I think it saw her. But she was stalking it. Oh. But you see now all of their attention, Pete, they're all up, they're all looking. And that's but what I was saying before that whole little sibling rivalry happened there was that I'm very impressed with that one that we just saw there and how loud it can roar. I mean, it's for its age and its size. I haven't heard of one. And she's very keen on doing it. I mean, she's getting extremely good at it. Now, imagine, give it 4 years, when she's big like these other females. She'll have a crazy roar. I can still see, though, a number of their heads up. Butterfly, exactly. That was lion power. 100% butterfly. You guys can't see me, but my head is on a swivel here. I'm looking left at all the lions to see who's calling and who's doing what. And then I'm looking right to where the other half should be coming from to see if I can see them walking down the road towards us. But so far, there's nothing happening on the right. But the fact that it is getting later, it is getting colder, it is getting into more of lion's active time, that you wouldn't tell by this Ross male, and that the fact that they're roaring, there's going to be movement soon. Soon. And a lot of this sort of job, this guiding, a lot of this is just about timing. So we are going to carry on sitting here patiently, waiting. And while we do that, we send you back across to TRISHALA, who's having a good time with her hyena cubs.
How awesome to hear lions roar. What an iconic sound of the bush. Another iconic sound is that of the whooping hyena. Well, these little ones won't whoop just yet, but I have seen about a 6-month-old start to whoop. It's the cutest thing. It's not quite there yet, but it's definitely trying. So we have a few more months before these guys start to attempt it. Now they found themselves a little scrap of something. It looked like a little patch of fur. And they were tussling with it a little bit. But they now seem to have lost interest, and it's back to these bushes that just seem to be all over this mound. And They have no idea why it's being so intrusive. The bushes need to be attacked. Lovely. The lions are roaring again. Let's go back.
Guys, it's crazy. They're not calling at the right times. It's like, they don't warn us, they just start calling. It's very bizarre. But again, it was a similar thing in that the lions on the right, the ones that we haven't seen, started off. And then these ones responded very quickly. It was a very, very quick reply. The other ones hadn't actually even stopped calling. And I think because it was so quick, and I mean in between the last roar that you heard and the roar that you heard now was only about seven odd minutes, maybe a bit longer. So it's getting much, much shorter in between calls, which is a good sign. You know, they're trying to triangulate each other, they're trying to find exactly where each other are, and they might start calling a bit more regularly until they join up. So you can see. Yeah, no, Harry, you definitely awake now. You can't doze off when this is happening. There's no dozing off. I mean, there's some incredible stuff happening. There was another cub, a different one, that was calling now, but he's now flopped over and gone back to sleep. But that's how quickly this stuff happens. You know, Trishala at that hyena den, you know, you can sit there and nothing happens, and then suddenly another hyena comes, or the cubs start jumping around and playing, and there's no sign, there's no warning sometimes. They just stop being active. They go from fast asleep like this, or sleeping, to suddenly all roaring and playing and having a great time. And it just changes. You know, generally lions, they do have a bit of a warning. They will yawn, they will groom each other, they will groom themselves. Okay, so it sounds like Tswalu's got an aardvark. This day is just incredible.
And there we go, the $1 million card. And I'm sure a lot of you already guessed what we were looking for. We were just battling to find it, and one of our tracking teams actually found it for us. So there's your aardvark. How insane is that animal? And for those of you who've never seen one, and that's tons and tons and tons of people, this is one of the big safari specials on any reserve. You know, you can find lion, you can find elephant, rhino, whatever. To find an aardvark is almost the gold standard. That pangolin, in my books, probably beats it, but this is an absolute incredible sighting. There's nothing else on earth like it. Some people call it an ant bear, but it has no resemblance to a bear whatsoever in any way. You know, unless that's just referring to the way it goes, you know, feeds on ants and termites, but there's absolutely no resemblance to a bear. It's not even related. It's what they call a monotypic genus. It's the only one in the genus. There's nothing else on earth that resembles it. This is nuts. This is absolutely insane that we found this. Well, for those of you losing their minds out there, trust me, Jandra and I are exactly the same. We're actually just going to go, Jandra, can you still see it there? Or we're going to, okay, we're going to go forward here quickly, all right. We're going to go around, look at this. Yeah. Kruger, right now I might burst into flames. This is nuts. This is absolutely. I'm running out of my normal set of expletives, so I must be careful. But this is really, 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 really good. I don't want to get too close with the sound of the engine and spook it. I'd rather us actually observe it from a distance and see if it does any digging in it. And of course, old Jandre's getting some good backlight there, so he's just like in seventh heaven. I'm hoping that we actually see the birds tagging along behind it. You know, have no idea how long I've been waiting these past 3 weeks to show everyone an aardvark. I'm just going to go forward over here. We're gonna stick with this as long as we can. Okay, there's out there again. I'm just gonna go a little bit further up this road. We might get a nice shot coming back here. Okay, I'm just gonna go further forward here. So they'll typically be foraging in winter at this time. They're feeding on ants and termites. That's it. I'm just going to get into this gap over here. Hold on. He might come out. And okay, just right there he goes. There he is. Oh, look at that. One of our challenges that we got here now is the wind. They are super sensitive animals in terms of hearing and sense of smell. Their eyesight is very mediocre. I mean, they can pick out movements pretty well, but eyesight itself is not great, but hearing and sense of smell is brilliant. So when we're looking for aardvark, I personally favor a decent breeze, like a constant breeze, even if it's freezing cold, I don't mind, as long as it's a constant breeze in one direction, because then you can really use that wind to actually approach him, and you can approach him on foot pretty easily without them even knowing that you're there. But this breeze now has really dropped down. There's hardly a breath of wind, and it's just really, really difficult to approach him closely. So we're not even going to try. So we're just going to stick in the vehicle. I'm just going to get a little bit further forward here for you. It's moving parallel with the road, which yes, I am like, woo, this is it, eh? And like for 3 weeks, Jandre and I have been looking for these. And yowzers. This is Kalahari, guys. I'm just going to stop there. Okay, when he stops and like very alert, I'm just going to stop, even if he's obscured by some bushes. So Public Oasis has just asked how fast the aardvark. They've got such an incredible turn of speed on them. So if we were walking, for instance, and he picked up wind of us, some tend to be more relaxed than others. They've got their own personalities, like everything does. But yes, if they get spooked, they've got a gallop on them, and typically they don't run very far, but they normally just dash down the first hole that they get to. And you know, they've got a super good knowledge of their entire environment, so they'll know where all the big holes are that they can escape down. And if you sit quietly 15-20 minutes, they normally come out again if you've got the wind in your favor. I'm just going to go a little bit further up here. Wow, one of our guides has got 11 lions roaring now, so head back that side. We're going to follow the aardvark.
I don't know what to say. Oh, look on the right there. There comes the other Ross male. So you can see now, as Odie zooms in down there somewhere, is the other Ross male. So this is why. Can you see it, Odie? You got straight ahead. So there he's coming. This is why they've been roaring, so that they can join up, so that they can find each other. You know, this is why they're doing it. And I don't know if you can see them. Oh, how regal does he look? Beautiful. So you see, you can probably smell them. The wind's blowing from our left to our right, so he's downwind of the ones we've been watching. Now that he can hear them, or see them, sorry, smell them, see them, and he's heard them multiple times, as so have you. Now he's coming to join up. He looks beautiful. Now, much better looking than his brother. His brother's now got his head up. But we're going to stick on this guy here, because I want to see if behind him, the rest, so remember there's still the young male, 2 females, and the 2 cubs that were with him. And if he's gotten up, I'm sure the rest of them have too. The males are generally notoriously lazy. So I'm sure the rest will start peeking out of the bushes. And as you guys can see, we are in sort of night vision mode. That's why everything's got that sort of monotonous grey colour. It's getting quite dark here, so we just got our night vision on. I'm interested to see what he does. So what he's doing is actually walking now along the road. It's just much easier to walk along the road. There's no thorns, rocks, things like that. So he'll walk down the road and then come. Now it'll be interesting to see, does he go to the females first? Does he go to his brother first? Who does he greet first? There seems to be something caught his interest. Looking back there, I wonder. I cannot see anything. I thought maybe the other lions took that route around. So I was just trying to listen. I thought I heard some calling. Okay, yes, so while we wait here, we're going to send you back over to that really cool artwork.
So we've just been tagging along. He's kind of moving diagonally away from the road, but very relaxed, very slowly. And we've actually got some anteating chats. At the meerkats this morning, I mentioned the anteating chats. Are they following these burrowing animals? There's actually one that's just come in there. You'll see these little black and white birds pop up every now and again behind him. This is amazing. This light is amazing. Everything about this is amazing. Ah, yes. We should really do this more often, eh? Like tomorrow morning, for instance. Oh my word, this is brilliant. Like I say, he's kind of moving at an angle away from the road, but I'm not going to... We've had such a beautiful sighting. You know, there's absolutely no need to go closer. And just observing him from a distance like that, the birds are doing what they do best, tagging along with him, you know, waiting for him to dig. He's doing what an aardvark does best, which is the digging. So they use different kinds of burrows. Oh, sorry, I wanted, before we go further there, we were talking about the pangolins and how many pups they have. And Wendy, our pangolin researcher, she just sent me a lovely message confirming, I think there was a paper from 1991 of one recorded case of pangolins having 2 youngsters, having twins. So that's just out of interest before I forget. So Wendy, thanks a million for that. That little panga's just got his nose at that bush there. Zephyr, we are being serious. A pangolin and aardvark in the drive. I promise you, even for me, this is brilliant. This is like, you know, we are... I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. I think, you know, just sit on the veranda with our feet up and look at some birds flying past. Jandre really wants to get his... Yeah, a unicorn maybe. Jandre just really wants to get his bird list up a bit. So we'll try help him with that bird list. I'm ecstatic. I'm over the moon. Yep, Jandre helps me a lot with a lot of the LBJs. He's very, very good with the small birds. Yeah, the ones I battle with. Yes, guys, I'm just so pleased that we were able to share this with everyone and that you were all like watching. And so the very funny thing, let me tell you a funny thing about this with our comms that we've been, challenges that we've been having. We've had, I think, how many? 2 aardvark sightings, 3. And it's just we're battling to actually get them out for you guys. So this is now, I'm done here. This is just, yeah. Africa. Africa. With Andy, you know what, aardvark, they do look vulnerable, but their defense is a insanely good ability to dig. There are lots of records of people historically trying to dig aardvark out of burrows with no success. They just can dig at a phenomenal rate. In fact, I would gladly challenge anyone to try dig an aardvark out of a burrow in the Kalahari. I'm not recommending doing it. I'm just saying, you know, if there was a hypothetical race between who could dig faster, an aardvark or a person with a spade, there is no ways you would keep pace with an aardvark. So they've got, and again, I mentioned earlier, you know, remember when an aardvark starts feeding like this, he's not working with a clean slate. There's obviously been aardvarks for millions and millions of years. You know, they've evolved in these environments. So we just like a little point in a graph right at the end of, you know, at this point in the evolution. So this landscape has always had aardvark in it. There must be tens of thousands of different burrow systems on Tswalu. Not each one is an aardvark, but that have been dug. You know, there's one particular burrow system that I know of that's been in existence for at least 14 years. With different kinds of inhabitants in it. So these burrows last a long time. So when this aardvark's moving around, it's not like if a leopard springs out that he has to go and dig his own burrow quickly. You know, he can be moving around feeding and then just disappear down the nearest burrow if danger threatens. So, you know, it's not like they're completely defenses, and their senses are just brilliant. Their sense of smell and hearing. So and that's why I'm trying to really keep our distance here. You know, you got to be super careful how you approach them. But hopefully over the coming weeks we'll get some more sightings, and hopefully also a little bit closer. But in the meantime, head over to Shaun and see what he's got on that side. Yes, this is brilliant. Ha.
Okay, so that you can see in the screen there is the Ross male that we saw walking up to us, walk towards the rest of these lions. So he's now, looks like he's going to go down for a drink. Now we had one female that followed him. So she's already passed him. She's already gone down to the water. I think she's going to drink, most likely turn around and come back up to us. So we're going to stay exactly where we are. But now it's interesting because the other female with the young cubs, as well as that Sabadov male, have not joined up yet. Not yet. I still think they are going to. They just look at that reflection in that Ross male's eye. So that Ross male never actually came to the pride here. He didn't come and greet anybody. He scent marked on 2 occasions on his way in here. And then he headed straight down there towards the water. But you must also remember, we did see the rest of these ones drinking. So they've already had their drinks. Maybe this guy, he hasn't had a drink yet. He's going to go get his. And then after that, make his way back up here. But it was interesting because both times that second Ross male scent marked and marked his territory, the dark man one that's been with us did the same thing. He stood up and he marked his territory. I think he didn't want to be outdone. You know, he saw his brother doing it, so he was like, I'm actually the dominant one. I'm going to do it. Imagine the little behavioral things. You know, it is constant. We were talking about King of the Bush and that sort of thing earlier. And, you know, even brothers like this, you know, who are in a coalition, they help each other most of the time. There's still a lot of competition between the two of them over females, over mating, over food, and just over dominance within a pride. So if one sees another one doing something, you know, he'll try and copy or do it better, that sort of thing. So you'll often see a lot of competition between them. Nana, yes, so many interesting dynamics in the pride. And there's still, Nana, there's still things that I am seeing, behavioral things, different dynamics that I am seeing that I haven't seen before. And I've been following this pride since, 2017. I've been following them, watching and, learning, and there's still things that I'm seeing for the first time. You think you know the lions, Nana, you think you know, and then something changes. And you're looking at a whole new thing, and you don't know what to say to your guests. You're just like, it's the first time I've seen that, everybody, I don't know. So it's very cool, and that's, what keeps it so interesting. You can go on safari 10,000 times, and it will still be interesting because something different will happen. There will be a behavior or just something unique on every single trip. Now, I'm interested to see now if the other 4 lions that we're missing are actually going to come here. Maybe that female is hearing the rest of these guys roaring all the time, and she thinks, hold on, it sounds a bit too rowdy to bring my 2 cubs here. Because remember the last sighting we had, they got a little bit rough. There was a lot of nipping and biting, and, yes, it was playing, but it can always just change. So maybe she thinks, it sounds like it's a bit too rowdy there, a bit too rough, I'm going to stay here. And same for that young male. That young male is probably like, there's a Ross male calling there, not the nice one, I'm going to stay away. It's possible. It's possible. That's why I'm actually quite interested to sit here as long as we can and just see. Do they join? Don't they join? Does this Ross male actually come back up the bank? He hasn't come back up yet. Does that female? She should. I'll be very surprised if the female doesn't come up here to greet the rest of the females. Oh, listen. But somebody was roaring. One of the ones down near the water. You saw all of these females on the left here. These are mostly adults on the left here. They all lifted up their heads. Okay, so apparently you couldn't hear it, but you can see the reactions. And quite often, that's what we rangers look for. You see the reactions of something, and then that tells you, oh, something's going to happen, like those elephants. We saw that they were unrelaxed. We didn't see the lions, but we saw unrelaxed elephants. And we thought, okay, let's see. This is where the lions should be. Let's see what happens. They trumpet, we found the lions. You saw this lioness, and I lift up her head, and then I stop and I listen. And then very faintly sometimes you say, okay, there's another lion calling far away. Because their senses much, much better than ours, and they can hear things before we can hear them. Sometimes we can't even hear what they're hearing, or they're smelling, or they're seeing something that we can't, especially in this light now. Rosemary, the suspense is half of it. Will they roar again? What are they going to do? Are they going to be friends? Is that male going to come up? Is the female going to come up? Is the young cubs going to come here, or are the young cubs going to come here? The suspense, Rosemary, it's crazy. Crazy. But you see that now. We were talking, I can't remember who asked the question, but about bonds and behaviors and hunting. And you see that one lioness got up, went over to most likely her sister. I can't see here in the darkness. But then most likely her sister gonna go there, get some grooming done, maybe groom her back, reaffirm those bonds. And now you may see, so what you're seeing on the screen now, that sort of light grey, that's not what we see. We see darkness. Like, it's pretty dark where we are right now. I can obviously see where the lions are, but I can't make out those individual markings on the face that we would use to identify them. I can't see that. But you look at those two, they're fairly similar size in terms of the heads. Maybe that one on the left has got a bit of a bigger head. But they're all awake now. This is now their active time. We've been talking about how the later, colder, that's when they get more active. This is exactly the sort of time we're waiting for. And because of the cloud cover and the wind and the rain, it means earlier activity because it gets colder earlier on. And these animals do get cold. You know, yes, they got the fur and they got the manes and they got sort of those things to keep them warm, but they 100% feel the cold. Very often here, off of our eastern boundary, there's a tar road. It's like everyone knows what tar is, a tar road. And obviously it's black. And that black tar holds the heat of the day a lot longer than, say, the grass or the sand. So very often, if you come here in winter, you will find lions, leopards, hyenas sitting on the tar roads, trying to get up, try to get that warmth from the tar. So that shows you that these animals do get cold. They do feel it. We saw them lying in the sun the other day, also just trying to warm up. See the white one at the back there? He's looking down there to see his brother. That's where the waterhole is, and I think he's waiting to see what his brother does. I can't see his brother. He hasn't come back up the bank. He could just be lying in the sand. You know, possibly he dug down a little bit to some warmer sand, and he's lying. Okay, so we are going to sit here patiently and see what happens. While we patiently wait, though, we're going to send you across to TRISHALA, who I believe is on a hunt for chameleons.
You know me so well now. I am also looking for a leopard to top off our spectacular drive. No clues just yet, but you know, if a chameleon happens to be around, I will, with pleasure, show it to you. With absolute pleasure. It's been a stunning drive. Dylan has had an amazing afternoon. He's had some amazing sightings altogether since he's joined us. So tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. South African time, we're going to have an Instagram live chat. So Dylan from Tswalu and I are going to be chatting a little bit, talking about his sightings, a little bit about himself, all of that, and get to know Dylan a little bit better. And if you're following the Wild Earth page on Instagram, you'll be able to watch. So pencil it into your diaries. I'm sure it'll be great. I'm sure he'll have lots to say about his sightings and his experience doing the drives with us. And no chameleons just yet. No leopards just yet. Julie, you say that's so exciting. Will there even be a fire? You know, Julie, with the way it's going with us and the fact that we have all these different locations, we have to think about new and innovative ways to have fireside chat. And indeed, there will be a fire. There will be two fires, one on Juma's side, one on Dylan's side, and it will be a fireside chat, everyone. It will just be over Instagram Live. Important question, Emma. Emma says, well, who will have marshmallows? We'll just have to see. I don't think I have marshmallows at my disposal. And I don't think you want to hear us talking like this about marshmallows. But we'll have to see. I'm sure Dylan has marshmallows. Let's ask Dylan what he thinks about tomorrow's chat, and you can also ask him if he's got marshmallows for us to roast.
So yeah, Trish and I are meeting tomorrow night at a live fireside chat, or a fireside live chat. Yeah, and it's going to be so cool we did a trial run today for the likes of me that are technologically challenged, and it all worked fine. So I think, yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. And it's just going to be nice to discuss, you know, the different things that we've been seeing in these totally different habitats. I mean, it's like, you know, Trish has actually been up to Tswalu. She's seen this environment. I've spent quite a bit of time down in that area as well. So it'll be actually really good to just chat about these different areas. And of course, as always, if you're able to join us, that would be first prize. So as we're ambling along here, we hold out hope all the time. So we're not looking for anything in particular, because I think I'll just be absolutely totally greedy if I'm hoping for anything else. But you know, you never know what we'll find, and it's still a very, very good time. The temperature's dropping now, but it's still a very good time for aardvark. They can be moving. Things like brown hyena will be out now. African wildcats. And you never know, maybe another pangolin. Wow. Now I'm really just like trying to milk it now. But look at this. Look at the skyline. The skyline is off the charts. MG has just asked, are there any caracal on Tswalu? And yes, we do have caracal. Some people know them as a lynx, but you know, the lynx is more associated with the States and Europe and that. So ours is, the correct name is a caracal. They are magnificent animals, very, very, very shy in these parts, but they are definitely out here. Just look at the sunset, look at this, look at this. I'm going to stop right here because this is just off the charts beautiful. Look at that. Oh my word. Yeah. This is Africa at its absolute sublime best. Kalahari full on. I'm just going to be quiet now. This speaks for itself, so. It's going so fast, eh? Look at that. John and I, we're gonna sit here until that sun's gone. So if you want to join us, please, it'll be amazing. Yeah, and it's a privilege being able to be out here and having you all with us. I mean, this is what it's about. No words needed. Point. It was incredible. And head over to SHAUN in the pouring rain.
Okay, so you can see here, we got a lot of these lions are now coming back from the water to join up with this one. Now, I don't know if you can see on your screens or hear it, but it's starting to rain very, very heavily here. Oh, there comes the other Ross male. So what we're going to do, we'll hang around for about a couple more minutes. I want to see them all come together, but then with this rain, we are going to have to leave them be. Now, very interesting. So just as this rain came, they all left the edge of that water. Now you can see there's just lions everywhere. They left the edge of the water and they came back this way. Now I heard some impalas alarm calling in front of us, but quite far away. And I think that may be the other 4 lions that we're missing, just dropping into the trees, trying to get some protection from the rain. Just like that Ross male in the background there, you can see he's heading for that bush. I don't know if he's going to scent mark or lie down. No, you see he's lying down now. He went. Yeah, Dylan, it is quite uncomfortable out here. It's raining pretty heavily. And you can see that's why that one male there went undercover, went into that bush there. Now, the difference between sort of the other lodges and us is we don't have a roof on our car. No, it's raining. We don't have a roof, so we're getting very wet. So is the camera. So as I said, we'll watch these two join up here, but then we are going to leave them. But while we wait to see, guys, it has been a fantastic afternoon. It's been pretty incredible. Pangolins, lions roaring, aardvarks, lions roaring, hyena cubs playing. I mean, just a crazy, crazy afternoon. And I think now that these guys have all joined up together, one big happy family again, we are going to leave them here in the rain and make our way back towards camp before we have to swim there. So guys, thank you very much, and we'll see you all tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Sean. Well, what a wonderful afternoon it seems to have been from all across the continent, or should I say South Africa. Pangolins, aardvarks, lions roaring, and I was able to bring you lots of poo. So I think I've brought my side of the history together, side of the content. Of course, seeing a pangolin and an aardvark in one show is just, yeah. Well, I was in the Kalahari years ago. I saw my first pangolin. First evening there, I saw an aardvark bat-eared fox. It was just crazy. It is such a wonderful place for those animals. I'm super happy able to see 2 of them. See me, no doubt, Dylan and Jandre were over the moon. So our hyena led us all the way to Chitwa Lodge, and then he went inside Chitwa Lodge. So much for him leading us to something of interest. Hyenas are well known for visiting lodges in and around the Sabi Sands. I didn't get an ID on him. So we are now on our way slowly home on the west with the idea of a last-minute critter. Last-minute something. Maybe the lions will come in on the west. It's always a road I like to check for that. It's in a road that Hukumuri likes, the big male leopard from the west. He limps on. We did have elephants in this block this morning, being a bit upset with life. We couldn't find out why, but it's possible that someone by the name of Hukumuri was lurking around. We tried to find the lions that are hiding somewhere in a block in Simbumbili, but now maybe they've finished whatever they were eating and they've decided to come back. So, last minute critter, everybody. What's it going to be? Send through your one-word #WildEarth. Maybe you'll get it right. There's no prizes, I'm afraid, just the knowledge that you guessed right. Throw it in the YouTube chat stream as well. What's the last minute critter going to be? Ah, Dizzy says last minute porcupine. I heard that last night as well. Somehow, I mean, I'd love to say yes, we're going to find a porcupine. But putting them on camera is almost like putting aardvarks on camera in this place. They're around. We track them all the time. We find their activity all the time. I can't wait to show you their dung. Yes, everybody, porcupine dung looks like cocktail sausages. Yes, you heard right. Cocktail sausages. We've all had them. We've all seen them. Fleur de Lizzie, you reckon a scrub hare? I got that challenge last night to find a scrub hare, and we found one, but it darted away. Didn't provide us with an image. So maybe a bronze-winged courser or a spot thickney. Those are two birds we're commonly seeing on the roads at night. Also a nightjar perhaps, or a genet. It's going to have to be live because the genets just run. I think I've had a genet every night this last week, but it's like that. They are in and out. And if you don't happen to be live, even the other day we were live, we didn't catch it. So, last minute critter. This is the junction I love to check. Sorry, for some reason. Okay, my comms have gone really, really low, but I believe Tswalu has found herself a last minute critter.
It is a last-minute critter. I promise it's there. It's a flat-necked chameleon. It's the same one that was really large that's been hanging around the Gallagher Pan area. But he's tucked in so close to the actual main stem of this magic quarry that it's very difficult to spot him. Nope, you can only just see. There, Darby. There we go. Are you shaking in your boots, friend? Yeah, it's cold. At least it's been a couple drives now where we've seen this chameleon. In the same bush, and they'll tend to do that. They're territorial. If there's a particular bush they like, they will stay in it. But during the day, they will go out. It's in the evening that they tend to return to their favorite bush. Sharon, you say the chameleon must be on my payroll. Sharon, the chameleon pays me to give it exposure every day. That's the story I'm sticking to. I hear Ellie's. Did you hear that? Well, I hope the ears don't have a certain affinity for this bush, because then this chameleon will be gone. Let's move ahead a little bit and see if we can see these ellies. I can hear the branches breaking nearby, so hopefully we'll be able to catch up with them. Thank you, chameleon. last minute everything has a last aardvark, so let's go over and see it.
I can't believe this, guys. This is unreal. I'm just going to go forward here a little bit. Is he coming out? Okay, is he coming out? I can't see him from there. There he goes, there he goes. Aardvark number 2. Aardvark number 2. This is absolutely off the charts. I am stunned, eh? And this one is full credit to Jandre. He spotted this one. This is, oh, wow. Do you see how important this time of day is for spotting them? You know, you can go out at night as much as you want when it's freezing cold, and you're very unlikely to see an otter in our environment. Oh yeah, I'm not saying in others. In Kalahari, this environment, yeah, Penelope says that's an aardvark on a mission. It certainly is. Going to the left there now. Yes, can you believe 2 aardvark in one? Yeah, probably within 40 minutes of each other, half an hour of each other. Yeah. Now I can retire. Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what, if I can do another safari with you all tomorrow morning, then I won't retire. Is that a deal? Unless you want me to retire. Yeah, then, we can look at options. Incredible, eh? There he goes, just coming out on the left of that bush now. We're trying to move as little as possible on the vehicle because yeah. Lauren, I don't know what lottery ticket I got today, but it was a winner. So and that's Jandre and myself. I think yeah, we got something good going in terms of finding animals. Jeez. Yeah, it's been an exhilarating day. I don't have too much to say other than that. What we've seen really speaks for itself. And I think the thing for me that I can just really highlight is you never know what you're going to find. You can put in as much effort as you want. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's just the fact of being out there is what's giving you the opportunity of finding stuff. If you're not going to put in the hours, if you're not going to put in the time, if you're not going to put in the legwork, you're not going to get something, unless it really just falls into your lap. But the more time you spend out, the luckier you're going to get. Gary Player, the golfer, someone once asked him, what do you ascribe your luck, your short game luck to? How why are you so lucky with this? And he just quite simply said, well, I find that the harder I practice, the luckier I get. And this is what I found out here. The more effort you put in, the greater your rewards. And hey, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's been so amazing having you with us all. And that sunset, off the charts. Just sitting on a dune like that and just watching, there's just nothing better. Please have a great night rest. Join us tomorrow morning and tomorrow night as well for our live chat. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.